Good evening, everybody. Uh, this is the first webinar of the scheduled webinars by European Society of Medical Imaging Informatics, which is actually handled by Nadia, one of our board members in charge of UZOMI webinars. And this is the first presentation in the series of the webinars for the 2017. And the title for my presentation today is Structured Reporting, and by a focus on the role of the templates in the implementation of structured reporting. I would like to thank Ilya and Ekaterina in Moscow for their efforts to organize this meeting, and also for our president, Professor Morozov in Moscow, who has been in charge of setting up the infrastructure for this series of webinars in the second round in our society. In this webinar, I am going to give an introduction to the template approach to structured reporting, which is now the most common approach to use the structured reporting in daily practice. And then I will discuss how modular approach is different from the template approach to structured reporting. And then I will give examples on how modular structured reporting is helpful, including the language-independent perspectives, and then a problem-specific modular structured reporting. And finally, I will show you an example of portable modular structured reporting. These three examples will explain my ideas on why a modular approach is more efficient for a structured reporting compared to the template approach. Probably you have heard about smart radiology. This is an example of the European efforts to provide a platform for the structured reporting. You can contribute to this effort by adding your own templates and also editing them, and you can also use them in your daily practice, and it is one of the very interesting approaches to the template-based structured reporting. The concept is very simple: to put elements of structured reporting in a template, and then you can edit your own templates and use the templates prepared by other people. There are many other efforts to have a template-based approach to radiology reporting, but the most comprehensive one is handled by RSNA, and you are probably aware of the RSNA template library, which is handled under the domain radreport.org. This template library now has more than 200 templates, which are categorized in 20 categories, and overall the available downloadable templates are more than 500. This is the screen for the reporting library, and you can see the categorization of the templates. If you click on one of them, you will have a list of potential templates arranged in that category, and here is the actually the overhead of the typical template, for example, for left shoulder, and you can see here that they have some data elements that can help you recognize how this template have been put together. And this is the screen for which has been recently added to the template library, and you can access the template like a text, or you can have an HTML data entry format, and this is a free or easily available application to put a structured reporting or a report together by structured concepts. If you have seen these templates in detail, you will see how the structured reporting has been essential for putting these templates together. Of course, not the same kind of details or same exact categorization of the abnormal findings are available for all of the templates. For example, this is one of the very well structured templates in the RSNA template library. And as you can see here, for example, if you look at the abnormal of the findings related to a tendon, you can have different options to put together and finalize your report. And this is categorized on an anatomical basis, and then each of the items have some options to be picked up from a list, and then you can easily put together a structured report. And this is one of the very well organized examples of the RSNA RAD report template library. But this is not the case for all of the templates. For example, let's take a look at the skull X-ray template, which is the same, which has the same concept for using in HTML format. Here you can see for the findings there is only a very simple sentence with no detailed structure. So this template library is not necessarily helpful to have a structured reporting in place. Initiative has not been meant to provide all kind of the structured reporting modules or templates for the users. But if you rely on a library or a repository to get the templates in structured manner, you will see that the RSNA template library is not sufficient to provide all of those details for your daily practice. One of the interesting features of the RSNA template library is that they provide the templates in multiple languages. And as you can see here, there are a large number of the templates in Arabic, Chinese, German, Portuguese, Spanish, and Turkish languages. One of the advantages of the RSNA template library is being RADLEX compatible. As you know, a RADLEX is a very comprehensive effort to put a standard language for radiology reporting, and the reporting templates have been claimed to be RADLEX compatible. These are one of the most popular approaches to the structured reporting based on a template library. We did a survey on this template library to see how much is the detail and how is the details of these templates arranged, and we tried to categorize the strengths and the weaknesses of these template libraries. And I can say these are our conclusions on analyzing the template library of the RSNA. Firstly, they are not uniform in their detailed structure, as I showed you in the comparison between, for example, the skull X-ray and the ankle MRI. The ankle MRI is really a very comprehensive, detailed, structured reporting template, but the skull X-ray is just a very simple, non-structured template. Another issue for the RSNA template library is that they are not there is no comprehensive option for all of the items. As even you could see in the ankle MRI, if you have something abnormal in tendons or in ligaments, you could have a very well detailed options to put your report together. But for example, when you have something in bone, there is just a very simple option to use for your structured reporting. So I think this is one of the weaknesses of this template library, and it can be improved. Another issue in the RSNA template library is that the templates they do not provide the structured approach to the description of all abnormal findings, and the templates are usually limited to normal templates as it is used in the daily practice. And not only the RSNA templates, but also our own templates in our radiology information system in our practice location have this limitation that usually the templates are based on normal cases. But if we want to have a structured storage and capturing and then analysis of the findings of the patients, we need to have a consensus on the abnormal findings. Then we should have a template for description of the abnormal findings as well. Another issue is that the RSNA template libraries are not all RADLEX compatible, although the majority are have this compatibility. And I want to focus on the template versus structured modular reporting in next few slides. I think the template-based structured reporting, which is now the predominant type of our daily practice, even if we want to have structured reporting in our departments and in our offices, it has some limitations as mentioned, but the modular structured reporting is a solution which will enhance the potential to have structured reporting in our information systems, in our reporting systems, and it can make the structured reporting more applicable in daily life and daily practice of radiologists. The concept is that every template, for example, if we want to have a report on the musculoskeletal abnormal findings or musculoskeletal procedures, we can subdivide our template into different sub-templates, or I call them modules. If we have a template, for example, for musculoskeletal elements, this template definitely has something for description of cortical bone, something for description of the bone marrow, cartilage, joint space, and so on. And also, if something is added, like a tumor, like a fracture, or any foreign body or devices, we will have some description for them. So each template should be considered as a collection of sub-templates or collection of modules. I think the modular structured reporting has some, if you compare them together, there are some advantages for the modular structured reporting compared to template-based ones. The first is that the templates are based on reporting concepts and do not cover the abnormal finding usually. And if we focus on the modular approach, we can have structured reporting modules for abnormalities. For example, we can have a repository or a library of abnormal findings. Let me give you examples. For example, a nodule or a fracture or a focal finding or a parenchymal change in the brain or a nodule in the thyroid. All of them can have their own particular module for the description in a structured manner, and then they can be inserted to any kind of the report that is being composed. Another comparison that can be made between the modular versus the template-based structured reporting is that the templates need editing for each abnormal case regarding the length and emphasis. We all know that the long reports are not welcomed by the clinicians, and if we want to give of the report, it will be very lengthy, and it will be time-consuming for the clinician to read every detail. So in actual daily life, as radiologists, we use kind of editing to delete some part of our templates or add some emphasis on the abnormal finding of a particular case. So in a modular approach, it is possible to have dynamic change in the number or in the details of the subparts of our report that is going to be delivered to our clinicians. Another issue is that the templates do not cover adjacent anatomical areas, and we are limited to the predefined areas for each procedures. You are aware of the template description of the adjacent organs. For example, when we are reporting a chest X-ray, we may find something in the proximal humerus, but they do not have it for the description of that finding in the bone in the proximal arm. And usually the radiologist, if he or she finds something in proximal humerus, they add something at the end of their templates to put. Another advantage of the modular structured reporting is that if you find something in the adjacent anatomical regions, you can borrow the module for that specific anatomical area and put it together in your template. Another issue that can be mentioned in the template-based structured reporting is that it is very difficult for electronic reporting and radiology information systems to have template-based integration for structured reporting, but modules can provide further flexibility in the reporting systems and radiology information systems to capture the data and use them in our reporting practice. Another issue for the template-based reporting is that we have limitations to control the standard terminology for description of abnormal findings. As no predefined structure is usually mentioned in the templates for description of abnormal findings. For example, we may have something for description of a fracture or a tendon tear, but if they are not structured from the beginning, we may describe them in our own languages, according to the radiologist who is in charge of the reporting. But if we have a module for example, for description of a tendon tear, or for example, a fusion in a joint, and the structure is considered as a consensus in the radiological community, then it can be inserted into our report as a structured abnormal finding. So this is another advantage of the modular structured reporting. In my opinion, the structured reporting should be considered a collection of building blocks of a report, which includes the location, the feature, the level of the certainty of the reporter, and sometimes we need some moderator to have a more clear description of objects. So this is the usual appearance of the structured reporting by sub-elements or building blocks of modules. Let me give you an example of one of the structured reporting, modular structured reporting project that we have been developing in Tehran. In this system, it is possible for the user to create a module firstly. You can see here the module can, for example, can be dedicated for description of the alignment, and the user can define how the alignment should be described. And then if it is normal or abnormal, it can be inserted. It is possible for the user to have a whole list of the potential abnormal findings. And then it is possible to, when you have a complete list of the modules that you have put together, then it is easy for you to select the modules to put them together in a template. So dynamically you can compose a template based on your elements or building blocks, which is called in our system as a module. And then when you have your template, it is possible for you to edit them as the final dynamic template building approach for your own practice. When it is the modules are put together, it is possible to treat them as different templates for your reporting. So you can have unlimited number of the templates for yourself by using a module creator and module editor system for your own. Then the user can have an unlimited number of the templates for the description of the normal cases or for a particular clinical findings. And for example, this is the version of that module, which is now considered extended NE for description of the abnormal findings in the effusion. And then you can click here to use this template for generating the report. This is, in fact, a template editing tool or template editing application, which is based on the modules. The building blocks of the structured report is dynamically created, edited, put together, and then converted to a template for daily practice. And it is the screen for the reporting for your own case, and it is very easy for daily practice of a radiologist to put together. But I want to show you some screenshots from the common data elements, which is the very recent advancement and development in the RSNA informatics committee, which is very similar to the concept of the modular structured reporting. It means that our friends in RSNA informatics committee, and they are the friends in the reporting initiative of the RSNA, are now focusing on the granular approach to the capturing and storing and then analyzing the abnormal findings in a radiology report. If you go to the radelement.org, which is part of the RSNA informatics division in the RSNA website, you will see the effort, which is now still limited. There are limited number of this for description of the radiology common data elements, which is exactly another description or another terminology for what I said about the modules. It means the templates or a collection of data which is used for description of abnormal findings in radiology study. Let me show you some examples of this. For example, there is a common data element for description of the diameter. Here is if the value is considered to be integer, there is a minimum and there is a maximum. The steps are in 1 and the units are in millimeters. And these are the instructions how to use this common data element. This is another common data element, for example, for the LIRADS assessment category. The values for this may be used from the LR1 to this end. So this is another example of common data element, and it can be used in any kind of imaging, regardless of the modality, regardless of the procedures. So every information system or reporting can use these common data elements, or in my words, the module for description of the finding. And this is another example. For example, you see the restricted diffusion, the values, there is only one value between the present or absent. So these are, in my opinion, these are sufficient to show how there is the trend of the RSNA to put the structured reporting together, from the template approach now to common data elements, which are the subparts in our report. This is in one of the papers by our friends Daniel Rubin and Chuck Khan in their in radiology, and if you are interested, you can take a look. This is exactly something which is based on the common data elements. As again, it is a template, but it is composed of different abnormal findings for subparts of our report. Here, for standard combination, there should be a submenu for you to help you describe your abnormal finding in a predefined structured manner. Okay, I'm just giving you of how modular structured reporting can be daily and how it is advantages to our practice. For example, one of the efforts, I've shown this slide several times, it was our project to provide a point-and-click approach to structured reporting. This is a mapped image to help the user to get the submenu for description of abnormal findings. For example, here, if you click on the right coronary artery, a submenu added to you, and then on the abnormal, you can see how it is similar to the our project 2007 and was presented in CARS meeting and then RSNA. Our idea to put structured reporting a point, and you can see it is for the reporting, and it is after the reporting, and you find that the abnormal findings are picked up from a menu, pulled down menu structured from the beginning. It will to a further example, main to the segments of the artery. Concept is to describe something not limited to the main branches, but also to the segments. Another menu will provide you a detailed menu to describe the abnormal findings. And then if you click on the generate report, it will provide you a detailed structured report including all of the elements. But let me give you one of the advantages of this modular approach. We were focusing on the language independent reporting, which is only focusing on the concepts rather than how they are described in a particular language. It is exactly the same screen without any need for the translation. It provides us the same menu but in another language which is introduced to the system. So the reporting is now possible for the user in another language, which is now in this screen is German. It helps the radiologist and the radiology department to have a language independent reporting. You see here the same report can be provided in German language or in any other language which is provided to the system, including the Persian language. So this is one of the greatest advantages of modular approach, because you have a detailed data element for description of your abnormal findings, which lets you be in a language independent. This is the concept behind our application, which was built nearly a decade ago for language independent reporting. The concept says that interpretation leads to a report, and then it can be used for any kind of application, be sent to someone else. It can be viewed, it can be printed, or it can be inserted to a RIS. But it is the user language is not necessarily the same for the production or for the application of the findings, because the data is not by a specific language. It is coded manner, and it is only possible if we have a module for description of all of the findings. If we have a dictionary here, the findings of the interpreter can be followed by a dictionary to put together as a code, and then another dictionary can be display of those abnormal findings or the normal findings in another language. So The reporting can be totally linear if we start the reporting based on a modular approach, and the modules cover all of the normal findings as well, not only limited to the normal findings. Another modular approach for the structure reporting is to have a dynamic template building according to this concept. Let me describe them to you, as we had a couple of projects here in Tehran to have a problem-specific structured reporting. If a module is considered in a complete detailed format, it can also be deleted from the report, and I will explain it to you how. Because in a daily routine for the radiologist, if, for example, we are asked to report an abdominal ultrasound examination and the patient is a car accident case, we may change the look of our template and our report if compared to another report which we are going to provide to a patient who is doing a lithotripsy for a urinary stone. This is what we use as a radiologist in our daily practice. We do not provide every detail for all of the parts of our templates and reports. For example, I want to say to you that usually we follow this concept, and I'm using this. I have adopted this daily routine for the modular structure reporting as well. If we take the details of our module as in a okay, I will answer to the questions. Let me describe the concept of the I'm hearing some music. Okay, thanks. Let me describe the problem-specific detailed structured report. A module can be presented or displayed in three different manners. If we keep all of the details, we call it a detailed module. If we just put some minor part of that module, or just state that it is normal or abnormal, we call it a brief display of the templates of the module. Sometimes we decide to delete a module and not have any classification or detailed description of that module in our report. This is the usual our daily. For example, if we have a template which is composed of 5 sub-templates or templates from A, in case 1, which is more focused on module A, module B, of module E of that abnormal findings, we will keep them in a detailed format. We will just mention the C module in a brief format, and we may think that module D is unnecessary for this case, and it is not important to mention in this module in our report for that particular case 1. And in case 2, another scenario is going on. For example, these are just conceptual examples. And for example, in case 2, we may decide to delete 3 subparts of our module and keep only module B in detailed format and have a brief mentioning of the module A concept. And in case 3, another scenario is going on. And in this particular case, we need some upper extremity X-ray to describe, for example, our chest X-ray descriptions. The concept behind this problem-specific structure reporting is that for any imaging procedure, we will have blocks of data that can be captured from that particular imaging procedure. Let's think of an abdominal CT. We will have a subparts of our report. Part A will be focusing on the liver. Part B will be focusing on the, for example, the kidneys. C for the pancreas, and so on. On the other hand, we will have for a specific clinical problem, we will have particular data requirements. Scenario 1 will be an abdominal trauma. Scenario 2 will be a oncologic case. Scenario 3 will be a pancreatitis, and scenario 4 will be something else, for example, a car accident. All these things, as a radiologist, you will agree with me that in every clinical situation, we are requiring not all of the blocks of the data, but some particular sub-elements of that template collection or collection of the modules in that template. In situation 2, only block A and E will be required. In situation 3, only block C. And in situation 4, maybe we will need the part C, D, and E. So this is what we face in daily practice as radiologists. We are not usually keeping all of the elements of our templates the same for each case. So this is a kind of expanding and then collapsing the subparts of our templates. This is another advantage of modular structure reporting that will enable the user to have 3 types of the templates of the modules. One of them is detailed, one of them, and the second one is a brief format, and even we can have the possibility to delete part of our templates. This is one of the examples of our projects in Tehran to provide problem-specific structured reporting, which enables the radiologist to have templates particularly tailored to clinical problems. For example, here is the chronic ankle pain of any origin according to AICR appropriateness criteria, clinical conditions. So it is, if you want to keep the subparts of the each of the sub-elements of your template, you can click here, and then it is possible for the user, for example, if you want to have the alignment, you can click here to put it in your particular template for the chronic ankle pain of any origin. And if you are not interested to have your module for that clinical condition, you can just mark that module to be deleted from your final template together. So for the ligaments, again, here you can see it is possible for you to include or exclude any of those modules in your template. And finally, the user will have a particular problem-specific template for that case, but all of them have been driven from a very comprehensive template at the beginning, which is consisted of modules, and we can dynamically expand or collapse our sub-modules. Okay. And the final thing that I want to mention to you is the portable structure reporting, which is based on which we have been putting together the sub-elements of that module as of that templates as modules, and then by just signing in, it is possible for you to click on your template that you are using, that you are needing. You see here that everything are is in modular format. All those are available in modules, and then it is very, very fast to use and reach to the particular module in your report that will help you to compose your report in a very, very fast manner, and it is then possible for you to export the findings and the report to any destination that you are looking for. So you can see how it is easy for the user to put the report together and export it to wherever he or she wants. This is another example of the advantages of modular structured reporting. Okay, I'm now finished and I'm ready to answer to any questions. Okay, if is there any problem for the presentation? If you have not seen my presentation, let me know, then I can. Okay, now I am finished and I'm ready to answer to any questions. Thank you for paying attention to my presentation. Now the presentation is finished, in fact. And I'm ready to answer to questions. Okay, Sergey has asked me to give my opinion about the steps to implement the structured reporting in radiology department. I think one of the major issues is that you have a complete library of the structured modules and templates for your department to be agreed by the members of that department. And the second is to insert them into your radiology information system or reporting system, because if you want to use them in daily practice, your information system should be competent enough to handle those templates. And the third issue is to promote your structured reporting approach, because maybe at the beginning the clinicians that are looking to your reports not feel so happy or feel comfortable with your structured reports, and they are looking for the ordinary classical text-based reports, but it takes some time for promoting your new approach as a structured report. Another question has been arised about using the voice recognition and the structured reporting. I think the future of structured reporting is the combination of the voice recognition, and the modular approach. In fact, I think the next advancement or development in the structured reporting will be to pop-up modules by commands given to the system by voice. So it is very easy to put your modular structured reporting based on voice recognition. It is even more competent, I think, compared to free text reporting, because in the free text reporting you need to give a whole sentence for the description, but in the modular structure reporting, the data are presented in a granular manner, in this structured manner. So if you pop up the module and then describe your abnormal finding by voice, it is very easy. So I think there will be a combination between the voice recognition or speech recognition and structured reporting. I call it double SR. SR for speech recognition and SR for structured reporting. This is the future. SR2 is the future of radiology reporting, in my opinion. There is another question that if there should be some universal approach to structured reporting. I think it is not feasible at the moment to have a universal consensus on the structure of radiology reports, but big societies like RSNA and ESR and UZOMI and SIM can be very influential to provide a library of normal findings at international level. I do believe that if the libraries are sufficiently detailed and sufficiently scientific, every radiologist in every part of the world will adopt them. But at the beginning, there will be some cultural barrier because the radiologists are used to describe their findings in their own concepts and how they have been trained and on the routines of their department. So it is not so easy for them to change their routines for the reporting. And I do believe putting a comprehensive structured reporting library, including the modules for description of abnormal findings, is an essential step to have a universal structured reporting. But now, at the moment, it is not possible. Another question is raised for the structured reporting and CAD and CAD. It is a very good question because for CAD, you know, we need to correlate some image processing output to abnormal findings. So if we have a structured reporting from the beginning for description of those abnormal findings, it is very, very helpful to use CAD systems to have an automated description of the findings. So it can be correlated or conjoined with DICOM structured reporting to put the abnormal findings in a predefined manner in the DICOM structured report and in the DICOM file of that specific case. And CAD will be very much enhanced if we use structured reporting for a description of the abnormal findings. Okay, any more questions? There's a question on the description of the abnormal finding, for example, for the restricted diffusion. This is only an example of how common data elements can be borrowed in our reports. You know, the approach for the common data elements is that regardless of the type of the procedure or type of the radiological study, there are some common words that we are using for the description of our findings. For example, if you want to describe the size of a nodule, regardless of our study, if it is ultrasound or it is a CT scan or MRI, whatever, we may use the same numbers for the description of the size of our mass, or we may use the numeric description, for example, as a small, medium, or large mass. It is not limited to the type of the mass or to the type of the study. So this is a common data element which can be used anywhere in any kind of report. For the diffusion weighted imaging, if there is any restriction, we can describe it yes or no, or present or absent. This is another concept. I may not agree with the common data elements that have been presented in RSNA library, but they are only examples of how the concept of the common data elements will be influential for the future of structured reporting. Common data elements, in my opinion, are another word to describe modular structured reporting. It means that we will have a collection of the structures to describe normal and abnormal findings anywhere in any type of the study or in any clinical situation. There is another question. Is there any program developed for creating modules and using the reports? Yes, I have had a few students that they have developed these programs in Tehran, Iran. So it is possible for the users to have the module creation, module editing, and template, dynamic template builder as a daily practice. It is available for daily use. Although it was just an academic project and it has not been marketed yet as a free or a market product, but it is available. Okay. Any other questions? I think the time is now over and we can finalize our webinar. Let me ask the organizers of the webinar to let me know if you're welcome, Nadia. I thank you, Nadia, for arranging and scheduling for the webinars as the chief of this project in Uzomi. And thank you, Ilya and Ekaterina, for the technical arrangement behind this webinar. We hope to see you in our next webinars in the Uzomi webinar series. And thank you, Sergey, for being a Papa Noel president in Uzomi. Thank you very much. And have a good time in the New Year vacations. Yes, as I showed, the next, this is the list of the next scheduled webinars, and you can see here that on February 2nd, we will have the bottlenecks of radiology productivity, which will be presented by the president of the society, Professor Sergey Morozov. Thank you and have a good evening.